Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on I'm a Virgo. Story about a 13-foot tall kid who, I don't know, fights superheroes? Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Starring Mike Epps. And Walter Goggins as the bad guy. Yeah. So, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. I think it's kind of a superhero thing, but kind of not. It feels like a combination of Good Burger and because there's a lot of hamburger stuff in it, and I don't know, like a side Avengers story or like a Disney Plus show. So the main character is 13 foot tall, and he's just gigantic. And then, I don't know, people worship him, people use him. His father warns him that people will use him. Here's a picture of him there, asphalt royalty. I don't know what that means. And then here's Walter Goggins. He wants to, show him up. And then I think this might be a different superhero because I think he can fly, and then he flies up. Here's Walter Goggins as a superhero who's actually a villain. And I don't know, the kid just seems to do urban kid stuff. He goes on a joyride with his friends who are kind of a little sketchy, and then they do sort of hood rat things like peel out donuts in the middle of a roadway and try to get girls and go to fast food. I mean, there's a lot of scenes in the fast food restaurant. I think he's in love with one of the fast food girls. And there's Walter Goggins in a superhero outfit. The message on this thing, I can't decide if it's a comedy, if it's an action thing, if it's a metaphor for something. There's some racial components too, because one of the characters says something like, "You are a 13-foot tall black man." I'm not sure what that has to do with anything, but I guess it's going to be a story like that's a weird thing. He's drinking out of that. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of what was it? Paul Bunyan. I maybe it was a Paul Bunyan pitch. Black Paul Bunyan. I don't know. It just seems weird that they would add superheroes into the mix. That seems unnecessary. Seems unnecessary to add in superheroes. And then he doesn't seem to fight crime. He does. Here he is, I guess, riding a bike. I don't know where they got a giant bike for him. I don't really understand. I guess it's sort of a coming of age story, but done in a weird way. He's kind of sheltered his whole life because his parents were worried about how people would react, I guess, but I'm not sure they had to worry. I mean, he's a giant. It's not like the other kids could pick on him. So how does this break down? Well, let's see. First act, he lived a sheltered life, and he was born very unusual, and he's gigantic. He's growing and growing and growing, kind of like Paul Bunyan. And then the second act, he sort of is gotten to the age where he's too big to be cooped up in the house and stick around, and he wants to go out and explore the world, which is kind of like a kid-like story, but it didn't feel like a kid's movie. The music, I don't know, the music isn't quite there. The music feels like it's an older movie, but so he makes some friends and goes out into the real world, where he meets meets a woman at a fast food restaurant and falls in love, but he doesn't know what to say to her. And then his friends have some adventures driving around. Then, for some reason, Walter Goggins, as the superhero of the city, decides he doesn't like the big guy, or considers him a threat, or is trying to use him for publicity, and fights him when he steps out of line, or doesn't, or just fights him, maybe. Not really sure. It's a little vague. And there's a confrontation, and the big man is at first defeated, but then in the third act comes back to prove himself a superhero? I don't know. It's a bit vague. Let's see. Is it even a TV show or a movie? It says first movie trailer. Seems like a weird name too. I'm a Virgo. I wouldn't have pegged this as a movie about a giant. I'm a Virgo. I would have called it something closer to, like the Giant of Oakland, or Big Man, Big Heart, something like that. I'm a Virgo. I can be anybody. It sounds like more of like a hippie movie. Walter Goggins seems oddly cast. Doesn't seem like the right, role for him. But Walter Goggins does play a lot of Southerners and a lot of Southern racists. So maybe that's part of the deal, that they wanted a guy who's a superhero but who's also racist, and then he's the villain, I guess. Again, I'm not sure what they're trying to do with this. Is it just another metaphor about race? Seems awfully mild. Again, if you're going to lean into something, lean into it. Lean into it hard. Maybe people won't like it, but at least you did it. To kind of soft pedal something like that, it's not something you soft pedal. It's really not. It's too important an issue. If you're going to do it, you have to do it. And if you're going to make it the secondary thing, then you're already undermining your own case for whatever you're saying in that realm. If you're going to make something, if you set out to make something, I'm going to make something about racism, a metaphor about racism, make it, and don't look back. If you're going to make a metaphor about any political thing, do it. If you're just going to touch on it, don't put it in the trailer, certainly, because that misleads people. Then they think, oh, this is going to be a big thing on racism. And that can turn people off, and some people will go see it, but, this seems like it could be a fun kids movie, about a big giant guy who's a bit hapless and trying to make his way into the world. He's a bit naive because he's been cooped up all his life, and he watches cartoons, apparently. Like, that could be a fun thing for kids to watch. Or, not you little kids necessarily, maybe slightly older kids. And again, it's a metaphor for coming of age. To just kind of soft pedal that, doesn't seem to work. So, would I see it? Probably not. It's on Prime. I got other things to watch on Prime, but I'm going to assume it's probably already out. Oh, wait, no. June 23rd. June 23rd. So another month. So if you want to see a story about a giant man and Walter Goggins, check it out. I'm a Virgo. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. We'll be back with more videos later, and we'll see you in the next one.